"What?" the male gasped, his eyes wide with shock and terror. "What are you?" "Buddy, sometimes I ask myself that same question." He slammed the stake home. Didn't wait around to watch the show as the vampire disintegrated. There was another one to take out. Anticipation shimmered through his veins as he stalked the female through side streets and alleys. Like the male, she believed she was the one doing the hunting, and Wraith caught her off guard as she crept in the shadows behind a building. He shoved her into the wall, lifting her by the throat so she dangled off the ground. "This was too easy," Wraith said. "What is the Vamp Council teaching younglings these days?" "I'm no youngling." Her voice was a low, seductive purr, and even as she spoke, she lifted her legs to wrap them around Wraith's hips. "I'll show you." The scent of lust came off her in waves. His incubus body responded, hardening and heating. But he'd rather kill himself than screw a vampire, or a human, though he had different reasons for not betting human females. He leaned in so his lips brushed her ear, which was pierced all the way around. "Not interested," he growled, but still she arched against him, affected by his incubus pheromones. "You shouldn't play with your food," Eidolon's voice rang in his ears, but Wraith ignored it the way he ignored pretty much everything his brothers said to him. He had no intention of making a meal of this female. "Could have fooled me," she said, rolling her hips into his erection. "Maybe you need some convincing." Wraith pulled back and gave her an eyeful of wooden steak. Her eyes went wild. "Please." She swallowed, her throat convulsing beneath his palm. Her body wilted like a dying flower, and that fast the temptress was gone. "Please, just do it quickly." He blinked. He had expected her to beg for her life. He met her wide, haunted gaze, and slowly, with a sick sense of dread, he shuffled his fingers on her neck. A raised pattern peeked from beneath the collar of her hoodie. Damn. He shoved his steak into his pocket and tugged her sweatshirt aside to reveal a welted pattern the size of his fist. A slave mark. Not just any slave mark. The Crossbones brand of Neathel slave masters, the cruelest of the demon slave traders. This female had been forced to live in hell for gods knew how long. Somehow she had gained her freedom, probably by escaping, and now she was doing what she had to in order to survive. She had suffered, was probably suffering even now. Something clawed at his gut, and it wasn't until he lowered her to the ground without realizing it that he identified the strange feeling. Sympathy. "Go," he said roughly, "before I change my mind." She got the hell out of there, and so did Wraith. Rattled by his uncharacteristic display of mercy, he ruthlessly shoved aside the incident. He needed to get back on track. He needed to feed. He needed to cause some pain. The punks had split up, and one by one he tracked them down with almost mechanical efficiency, until only the leader was left. Somewhere nearby, a gunshot rang out, a familiar sound in this part of the city, so familiar he doubted the cops would even be called. The leader was ahead, pacing in front of a boarded-up shop front, his voice crisp with agitation as he barked out orders on his cell phone. "Yo! Scumbag!" Wraith yelled. "I'm over here. Would it help if I wore a neon sign?" Red-faced with fury, the leader bolted into an alley after Wraith. Halfway in, Wraith pivoted around. The gangster pulled his gun, but Wraith disarmed him before he could so much as blink. The weapon skidded across the wet pavement as Wraith put the guy's back into a wall and jammed his forearm across the human's thick neck. "This is disappointing," Wraith drawled. "I expected more of a fight. I seriously wanted to tenderize you before I ate you. When are you guys going to learn that a gun is no substitute for learning hand-to-hand combat techniques?"